Looking at the Huskies of honor, all of these superstar ladies did one thing very well. That was beat Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights have had UConn's number as of late, winning 2 in a row over UConn. Can you believe it? Oh, it's a good one tonight. We have 22nd ranked Rutgers taking on the 5th ranked Huskies of Connecticut, 20-2 on the year here in Storrs, Connecticut. Look at the significance of this game. You look at the Big East. These two teams sit at the top. Connecticut a perfect 10-0, 20-2 overall. Rutgers trying to inch closer to that #1 spot. Welcome inside Campbell Pavilion. My name is Greg Amstinger. I'm joined by a couple of my friends here in Storrs, Connecticut. We are ready for our Big East game of the week. It's 2 storied programs, neither team featuring a senior. Can you believe it? They're led by young, talented superstars, including Tina Charles. Are you guys ready to see Tina Charles tonight? Tina's very good. She's been on fire lately for UConn. Check her out. 11 points a game, 8.4 rebounds. Remember, she was the National High School Player of the Year at Christ the King High School in Jamaica, Queens, New York. She has come to UConn and been a power. Against Marquette, she was dominant in their last outing. She had 20 points and 14 rebounds. How will she do tonight, and can she cancel out Epiphany Prince of Rutgers? For more on the Scarlet Knights, let me bring in my broadcast partner, Debbie Antonelli. Deb.
Well, Greg, Epiphany Prince has to be a big-time player in this environment, in this game tonight, for Rutgers to get a win. She leads the team in scoring, and she does a variety of things on the offensive end that makes Rutgers very effective. But on the defensive end, you cannot overlook her skill there. She's second in the Big East in steals, nearly 3 a game, so she can D up inside a Rutgers team and system that loves to play defense. She is third in the Big East in three-point shooting percentage. You've got to guard her all the way to the arc. She can stretch defenses. She's very good off the bounce, and she's the best at getting to the free throw line on this Rutgers team. Now, outside of Epiphany Prince, if they want to contend for their 3rd consecutive Big East title, Essence Carson has to have big offensive numbers. The last 3 games, she's averaged 21 points. She's their leader. She's the one that has to be able to take this team on this floor tonight to get an upset.
Big East basketball is known for being very physical. UConn and Rutgers, it doesn't get any more physical than that. It's a Big East showdown. It's next. We are set to go in front of a packed house here in Campbell Pavilion. Let's check out the starting lineups for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Mattia Ajban will be their point guard. Epiphany Prince, Essence Carson, Heather Zurich, and Kia Vaughn is the starting center. C. Vivian Stringer in her 12th season at Rutgers. She's ready to go. 764 career victories. As for UConn, Renee Montgomery, she's the point guard. Mel Thomas joins her in the backcourt. Kalena Green, Sharda Houston, and Tina Charles is the center. And Gino Auriemma, his 22nd season, 609 wins. He's fresh off a 52-48 win against Marquette on Saturday, where his leading scorer, Kalena Green, only had 6 points. Deb, he wants Kalena to get going here early.
I think she'll be looking for her offense early and often. They may even run the first couple of plays to get her going. She has become a big-time scorer for them.
The atmosphere is absolutely electric for this one. Rutgers has beaten UConn the last 2 times they have faced each other. Both close games.
Man-to-man defense by Rutgers, a very stingy defense it is.
Mel Thomas gets the ball stripped the other way. Mattia Ajban. And Prince couldn't hang on. Good defense. Getting back, Montgomery in transition. She'll stop. Pop. It won't fall. But on the offensive glass, it's Tina Charles.
Well, Rutgers turns Connecticut over, and then they have a 2-on-1, and they give it right back. And Renee Montgomery looking to attack. Whichever team is the most aggressive early is going to be the one that's going to be able to dictate tempo.
Couple important trends. Second chance points. UConn known for taking advantage on the offensive glass. Zurich, nice pass to Prince. Prince goes baseline, and she walks. What about the atmosphere with all the young players?
No seniors in this environment. Connecticut, 5 players in double figures, yet no scorer in the top 15 in the Big East. That is a very impressive job that Gino Auriemma has done with his team to get them undefeated in conference play.
He told us earlier today he wants one of his 5 starters in double figures to step up and be that go-to player.
I think they have several options, Mel Thomas being one of them.
And Sharday Houston on the offensive glass. It doesn't fall, but Tina Charles with 2 early rebounds.
Tina Charles, 6'4", long and athletic, coming off of that big game that you mentioned earlier, that double-double against Marquette. She has become the go-to option on the block.
Off the inbounds. Montgomery. It can't fall, but UConn tenacious on the offensive glass.
This will be Rutgers' second opportunity in the half-court set to try to execute. Let's see what they do. Connecticut running man-to-man defense.
Ajavon, they really did miss her when she had an injury earlier on the year. Missed many games.
It's a completely different Rutgers team with her on the floor. Everybody can go back to their normal position. Essence Carson had to play the point position.
And she knocks down a tray in the corner. Essence Carson has been on fire. You mentioned it in the open, Deb. Over 20 points average her last 3 games.
I'm telling you, Greg, last year she was not the first nor the second offensive option. This year she's become the first option for Vivian Stringer.
Sharday Houston. Looks like she got away with a walk, no call. There's Kalena Green on the offensive glass.
Connecticut all over the offensive boards right now. That's a way for Gino Auriemma to generate extra possessions. He talked to us this morning about that.
Green's fadeaway doesn't fall. Carson with the board. Zurich loses a handle, and Green comes away with it.
Remember when I talked about who's more aggressive right now? Connecticut all over the own boards and doing a nice job with their defense.
Houston in and out. So many shots almost falling for UConn, and Kalena Green is fouled. Another offensive rebound, and C. Vivian Stringer can't be happy.
Nice interior pass right there in transition. Sharday Houston with a miss, but look at Kalena Green get in there and mix it up on the glass. She leads this team in scoring. She is second best on the offensive glass, and they list her at 5'10". I'm not even sure she's that tall, but she is long and athletic and knows how to use that length on the boards.
Just a 65% free throw shooter. She misses the first. You saw her numbers, over 13 points a game. As a freshman, she wasn't really relied on a lot last year for Gino Auriemma.
Relied on? She hardly played. I mean, she only averaged 4 points a game. She's one of the most improved players in the Big East.
Yeah, she could win that award.
And nationally, too, Greg.
Despite missing both free throws, what a block. Get used to seeing a lot of that. Rutgers can do it, and so can UConn. Tina Charles is amazing.
Well, she just does a nice job of rotating over to help out Mel Thomas, who was getting beat on a dribble penetration.
3 ball up. It is no good. Ray could not connect. Brittany Ray in the ball game for Rutgers. Loose ball. Tried to save it. Renee Montgomery, and the Scarlet Knights going to get it back.
Well, Matee Ajavon did a great job there getting a tip, forcing the turnover. Let's see if Rutgers can take advantage of turning it over and getting an extra possession themselves.
Epiphany Prince already comes out of the game.
Zone defense by Connecticut.
Brittany Ray in 4.
And they go to the zone when Epiphany Prince comes out, who's their best 3-point shooter. Now you got to watch for Brittany Ray. She can fill it up from outside the arc.
Her jumper, it's an air ball, was tipped on the way up.
Boy, Tina Charles is active early on both ends.
Mind you, she's playing with a shoulder brace on her right shoulder. Jumper no good. Ray fights with Mel Thomas for it, and Zurich comes down with the defensive rebound. Essence Carson the other way. It's a 1-point ball game. Off the front of the iron, no good.
See, right now Rutgers has not even made Connecticut play any defense in the quarter court. They're turning into a jump shooting team, which is exactly what Gino Auriemma wants them to be.
Strong move from Tina Charles.
I haven't seen Kia Vaughn get a touch yet, and she needs to get established on the block.
Averaging 13 points and 10 rebounds per game coming in, Kia Vaughn.
See, now they're getting a little ball reversal. Now they need to look inside to Vaughn.
Ajavon so quick. The right hand doesn't work. Zurich saves, back to Carson. Fresh shot clock for Vivian Stringer.
And see, this is where Carson has added dimension to her game, Greg. She can run the point. She was forced to do so earlier in the season. And her 3-point shooting has really gotten a lot better also.
Vivian Stringer told me she's finally just playing. she's not overthinking everything.
She felt so much responsibility early with Mattia Ajavon injured.
Her long-range jumper doesn't go down. Montgomery with the rebound all the way, and she'll go to the line. UConn up by just 1 point. It's been a defensive battle so far, and Tina Charles stepping up for the Huskies here early. Our Big East game of the week could be the Big East game of the year. Huskies taking on the Scarlet Knights. It's 4-3 here early on. Rutgers thankful they're only down 1, considering the rebounding margin, especially on the offensive glass for UConn, Deb.
Well, look at how they've crashed the glass. That's a lot of Tina Charles right there, who's been active on both ends of the floor, getting involved early. Here's a freshman playing in another big game environment. And Tina Charles, and this is a new environment for the Rutgers freshmen. They have not gone on the road and played in this kind of atmosphere yet this season. It's the one thing on their schedule, which happens to be strength of schedule number 3 in the nation, that they haven't seen.
Vivian Stringer was worried about the atmosphere with all the young players. Right. When you look at her bench, she only has 1 junior to go to. The other 4 players, all true freshmen.
I don't think Epiphany Prince is going to be bothered by this kind of environment. I think she thrives in it.
She played in front of so many large crowds in New York during her high school days. Montgomery getting after it. And then stripped away from Mattia Ajavon. She tries to save it. It'll be UConn ball.
See, both teams right now working so hard. They just need to take a collective deep breath.
It's like a heavyweight bout, isn't it?
Well, Montgomery with the pick right here. Now Ajavon's going to take it right back.
Back to live action. Sade Houston. It's good. If Sade gets hot, this UConn team goes from really good to a national title contender.
They are a different team when she is on her game. The thing that Gino Auriemma will tell you, he has no indicator whatsoever whether she'll be on her game or not until the clock starts running and the lights go on.
She's been in the doghouse in moments this season with Gino Auriemma. She's shooting 58% from the floor this season. You wouldn't think that's a bad season. Ajavon, they're going to call a foul. Foul on Houston. No, check that. 3-second violation on Rutgers. And the fans here in Gamble happy to hear the news.
You know what? Rutgers hasn't even thrown it in the post 1 time yet in this game, and they get a 3-second call. That's not always the post player's fault.
Kia Vaughn needs to touch the basketball. Houston.
Uh-oh.
Jekyll and Hyde. Which one's going to play tonight? Looking good. And an offensive foul called on Mattia Ajavon.
And Vivian Stringer is looking out there saying now, is this the same team that's won 9 of the last 10 games they've played in? She says, I hope this isn't the team that was playing for me back in November and December.
The same team that lost to Old Dominion 72-55.
Lost to Duke by 40.
Yeah. Houston loses handle, but it'll stay UConn ball.
Another good-looking freshman right there for Rutgers. Dee Dee Jernigan, who has been hurt and battling injuries all season.
Tina Charles. They're going to call a foul. Sade Houston important tonight because the bench depleted. Brittany Hunter, the 6'3" redshirt sophomore, will not play at all. You see her there, her knee. It's been just a sad story when you think of Brittany Hunter, right, Deb?
Well, it has. I mean, she was a National High School Player of the Year coming out of high school out of Columbus, Ohio, went to Duke, and then transferred to Connecticut, and she has battled knee injury her entire college career.
Depth may be a key. Tina Charles attacks Kia Vaughn. Back the other way. Kia Vaughn out of the game. That's Rashida Janai with a strong post defense for Rutgers. Ajavon has it.
And look at the defense by Connecticut. They are really getting after it, overplaying, and that's what you need to do. Put it on the deck and get to the middle of the floor. Mattia Ajavon is a difficult matchup for anybody in the country with her quickness.
Speaking of quick, Kalena Green goes baseline. She's as quick as anyone in the country. She'll go to the line.
Kalena Green, we mentioned that she's one of the most improved players in the nation based on her 4 points a game last year and her 13 this year to lead Connecticut. She only scored in double figures 4 times all of last season, Greg. This year already 15 games out of their 22, and 5 of them she's had 20 or more points. So she has proven that she can score a lot of points in a variety of ways inside Gino Auriemma's system.
Saturday's game against Marquette, she only had 6 points and 3 rebounds. That broke a string of 3 consecutive games where Kalena Green scored at least 20 points. She has the ability to be that go-to player. Sharda Houston called for over the back.
See, now that's a foul that you can live with if you're a coach, because it was an aggressive going for an offensive rebound. But you have to be careful, frontline players for Connecticut tonight, because they're down Brittany Hunter. They don't have as much depth in the post.
Epiphany Prince, the talented freshman, hasn't scored yet for Rutgers. They're down 6. Gamble, such a tough place to play. Essence Carson gets the rim does not fall her way. Keisha Soignier in the game running the point for Gino Auriemma.
See, this is a lineup on the floor that I think can help Gino Auriemma get all the way to the Final Four. This group right here with Soignier and Montgomery in the backcourt, I think they are as balanced and as complete a backcourt as any in the nation.
Prince to Ajavon. Dee Jernigan is also in the lineup for Rutgers. Prince, rainbow shot doesn't fall. Janai can't get it to go. And Ajavon fighting. She's going to go to the free throw line.
Preseason first team All Big East. Last year led the league in steals. Essence Carson was the defensive player of the year, though, for in the Big East.
Rutgers down by 6 right now, but they like low-scoring games. What's going to happen? Stick around. We have a packed house here in Gamble Pavilion in Storrs, Connecticut, and they're watching the Huskies take an 11-5 lead here. 11 minutes to go in the first half, and Tina Charles really dominant down low.
Well, she's been a factor and been active and brought energy from the get-go. Look at her on the offensive boards. It's 1 of her 2 offensive rebounds in the first half already. She's been very good. Kalena Green has been active on the glass as well. Blocking shots, that's one of the things Tina Charles does well in the back line. When you can over-penetrate, you're going to get your shot blocked, and she's also proven to be a dominant low-post performer. One of the national freshmen of influence. And you got to put her and Epiphany Prince in the same category when it comes to freshmen that have dominated and helped their teams get to this point. A couple others to think about, Greg. Jana Pell at Stanford. She comes off the bench in double figures for them. I also think Ashley Houts at Georgia has been a freshman of impact. Amanda Thompson at OU. And how about Monica Wright at Virginia? Those are all players that might be their respective conference freshman of the year.
Freshmen, young players making more of an impact now than really ever before in women's basketball and men's basketball for that matter. It's 11-6 UConn here at home. Sharda Houston.
I watched a little Kevin Durant last night for Texas. You talk about freshmen of influence.
My goodness, is he good. Greg Oden, the youth. Something in the water these days. I don't know what it is.
Well, I think players are just coming out of high school better prepared. You know, through their high school programs, coaching has gotten better. Facilities and resources have gotten better. Everything is continuing to grow in the women's game.
And how neat is it that Epiphany Prince and Tina Charles, 2 high school rivals, are now going to be Big East rivals. And the funny thing is, as Vaughn is called for 3 seconds, the funny thing is that despite the fact that those 2 were rivals and never played in the same team, they are actually the best of friends. Talk to each other every day on the phone.
They have been friends since they were 13 years old, both growing up in New York City.
High-low doesn't work. Kylie McLaren in the game, 41 for UConn.
We're talking about some very powerful freshmen. Well, we get a chance to see 2 tonight. Prince for Rutgers, and she leads her team in scoring and in steals. And then Tina Charles for Connecticut leads her team in field goal percentage and in rebounding. 2 players of influence that would not, their respective teams wouldn't be where they are without them.
Prince, her foot on the line. It's no good. And it's going to go to UConn. A slow start for the Scarlet Knights.
Well, slow because they have not thrown the ball into to Kia Vaughn. The one time she touched it was the last possession, and she traveled. They need to establish her inside. Nobody sits in a post like Kia Vaughn.
You talk about that a lot. She does get low. Look at that pass to Tina Charles. Great look from Keisha Soignier.
That's a great backdoor read. Connecticut showing zone.
Charles with 6 points. Rutgers looking to get something going offensively. Look at the help. Double immediately in the corner. Prince around Charles and can't get anything to work. Fast break opportunity. Soignier's fouled hard by Jernigan.
Fans didn't like it, but Dee Jernigan was just making sure that she didn't make the layup. That's a poor shot selection by Prince. Allows for the breakout by Connecticut. You see a hard foul. And you talked about this game being physical. Well, here we go.
Keisha Soignier going to the line, and how important has she been? Her level of play, this has been her breakout season. Would you agree with that?
Well, Greg, I think that I love her mentality. Don't call me a backup. I'm not the backup point guard. You know, she doesn't want to be considered that, and when she comes to the floor, she brings tempo. She brings it on both ends. She helps them get in a rhythm offensively. She's very good on the ball defensively. She's 4th in the Big East in assists, and that's a player coming off the bench.
87% free throw shooter, hits 1 of 2. Soignier plays at a different speed. A lot like Ajavon did before her injury. She's still trying to get back to 100%.
Rutgers needs to get Vaughn a touch right here. She's only caught it 1 time on the block and has not had a chance to be effective. And we're 10 minutes into the game.
Yeah, UConn has established Tina Charles. Rutgers hasn't done that with their star post play. And look at the defense. Renee Montgomery, that is the 3rd solid defensive play she's made here in the first half.
Well, she's quick and she's very good at anticipating, understands how to play the angles defensively with her defensive quickness.
This is the first difficult game in a stretch of tough ball games for Gino Auriemma. Rutgers and then LSU this weekend.
4 ranked teams in a row. They've never had that in the regular season. That's hard to believe. They haven't faced 4 ranked teams in a row ever in the regular season.
Tough schedule, but UConn usually steps up to the plate. There's Kia Vaughn. Can't get it to fall, and Tina Charles gets it knocked out of her hand.
Kia Vaughn is not only an effective scorer inside, but because she works so hard, she draws other defenders inside, and she will help set up their 3-point shooting game, which is the best in the Big East.
That is a matchup we're going to enjoy the rest of this night. Vaughn and Charles, pending in foul trouble. It will be entertaining. Houston has an open look and can't get it to fall. Rutgers has to be tickled pink that they're only down by 8 points.
Well, that's a good point, Greg. I mean, they have not played well. They only got 6 points, and they only trail by 8.
Ajavon guarded by Mel Thomas. Jernigan, the freshman. Nice backdoor look to Ajavon. That was a great feed. Dee Jernigan, she originally committed to Purdue and then pulled out of that. Came here to Rutgers. Houston down low. She has 6 points.
See, that's a veteran play right there. She knew how to change her shot when Vaughn, the shot blocker, was coming into her vision.
Under 8 to play. 16-8 UConn. Hometown crowd making some noise for this one. And look at Sade. Houston's defense create a turnover. Essence Carson walks. Vivian Stringer, what is she going to do to silence this big crowd here in Storrs? How good is she, Vivian Stringer? In 36 years, 764 wins, and she's an elite company, Debbie Antonelli.
Well, she is, and there's a newcomer to the 700 club officially last night. Kay Yao and NC State with their win over Florida State. Puts Kay Yao in elite company. 700 wins for Coach Yao. Congratulations to her and to NC State. And I know Coach Stringer is very happy that Kay Yao is working hard to battle her efforts to be back with her team in her battle with cancer.
What an inspirational story that is.
I had a chance to be there last night. It was great to be there to see NC State get a W and play really well. Actually, the best I've seen them play in a couple of years.
Your old coach, Elena Green. Biggest lead of the night for UConn, up by 10. 7:20 to play here in the first half. Ajavon has 5 of Rutgers' 8 points. Prince has still yet to connect.
Well, big-time screen by Vaughn, who allowed her to have plenty of room and separation to be able to get that shot off. You got to knock down jumpers, just like that.
Keisha for 3. It's 21-8.
I don't think Gino Auriemma didn't remind his team about the last time these two teams met in Piscataway when Connecticut had an 18-point lead and Rutgers came back and won. He mentioned it twice to us when we were talking to him this afternoon.
I think he's still really upset about it. Rutgers found a way to get down just 5. Look at that feed. Nice play, Kia Vaughn.
That was about 4 or 5 passes in the offense with poise, getting the shot that they wanted to Vaughn, who did a nice job of rolling to the bucket after she set the screen.
Vaughn on the scoreboard for Rutgers, averaging 13 points and 10 rebounds. She leads the Big East in block shots, 11th in the NCAA as well. These two programs have really evolved into powers nationally, but the Kings here in the Big East, no question about it.
Well, you could consider it not really a rivalry until the last couple of years. I mean, Rutgers lost 12 in a row to Gino Auriemma, and they've won 3 of the last 4, including a sweep last year over Connecticut. Rutgers came in here and won last year on this floor. That doesn't happen very often.
Let's give Cappy Pondexter, who's now off to the WNBA, a lot of credit for what she did. Mel Thomas can't convert. Rutgers hanging around here in the first half. Ajavon. Thomas with the steal. Green in transition. Left hand's good.
Oh, that is sweet right there. Good team defense. Mel Thomas. Great anticipation.
23-10. UConn enjoying the home court at the moment. Vaughn against Tina Charles. Double teamed. Sharday Houston diving on the floor. Ray for 3. It doesn't work. Houston aggressive. Double teamed in the corner. And she's fouled. It's a good half so far for Sharday Houston, Deb.
Boy, it sure is. I mean, she is really working on both ends. She is getting after it right there, being strong with a basketball to draw the foul.
6 points, 3 rebounds already for Sharday Houston. You see her huffing and puffing.
Yeah.
She does have asthma.
Well,
keep that in mind when you watch this girl play.
And she's not used to getting this many minutes in a row either, Greg. I mean, she's already played nearly 15 minutes, and that's all she played in the Marquette game. And the game before that, she only played 4 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think that had anything to do with the asthma, though.
No, it didn't have anything to do with that. You know, she did not score at Cincinnati and only had 4 points against Marquette. So she's already done better in this game than she did the 2 prior games.
We all know what kind of talent she possesses.
Oh, no question. I mean, she can score in a variety of ways. She has great hops. She can score on a block. She's got a terrific mid-range game. And she's playing some defense and rebounding right now, which is about everything Gino Auriemma would need from her.
Helping UConn to an 11-2 run. They're up by 15, biggest lead of the night.
Well, Connecticut's defense has been really good. They have made Rutgers uncomfortable with their offense.
Soigné to Green, back to Houston. Charles fouled by Kia Vaughn.
That is a big-time move right there. She came across the lane like she wanted the ball. She's demanding the basketball on the inside, and that helps open up the outside game for Connecticut.
Wearing a brace on her right shoulder. That shoulder's been injured this season. One of the young talents in this sport.
Well, 4 times this year she's already been Big East Rookie of the Week, including coming off of this week's Rookie of the Week performance. The last 2 games she's averaged a double-double.
How good can she be?
I think her upside is unbelievable. I mean, with Maya Moore coming in next year, the best player in high school, who was going to remind a lot of people of Tamika Catchings, who played at Tennessee, was a 4-time Kodak All-American. I mean, Maya Moore is going to change everything. It gives Gina Auriemma a big guard on the perimeter and a scorer.
Vaughn double team, goes in the corner. Ray has got a good look and she knocks it down. An important 3 to end a run that seemed like it was lasting forever for UConn.
We have 3 of the top 5 3-point shooters by percentage on the floor tonight. Mel Thomas leads the league. Brittany Ray would be 5th.
Underneath, and Sharday Houston misses an easy chance. She's upset with herself. Jump ball. Rutgers will get the basketball. Getting back to Brittany Ray. She is the sister of Alan Ray, the former Villanova guard, who's now on the roster of the Boston Celtics.
Well, she's made a 1/3 of this team's 3-point baskets this season, so you got to make her put it on the floor and don't let her shoot threes.
Kia Vaughn working against Charles, off the glass and good.
Look at that move. Now that is power right there. This is fun to watch. Charles and Vaughn.
Vaughn has 4 points now, and it's an 11-point lead.
You got to remember, Vaughn is just a sophomore.
She doesn't look like it.
No, she doesn't post up like a sophomore. She's one of the hardest working post players in America. I'd put her on the same list with Elena Larkins at North Carolina, Crystal Langhorne at Maryland. They work, they post, they call for the ball, they show numbers and hands to the basketball.
Ray for 3 again. Rutgers, here we go. They're coming back, down 8. Timeout on the floor. And UConn all of a sudden worried that what happened twice last year may just happen again. And in case you don't remember, it was what a night. In Gamble Pavilion, Gina Auriemma couldn't believe it, losing 60 to 56. Despite Barbara Turner's efforts, she played well. But Mattia Ashbaugh with 16 points brought Rutgers back. A big upset. They never won. 11 tries. They never beat UConn in Gamble Pavilion. What a night it was, Deb.
Oh, it was unbelievable. I mean, we had such a great game on our air right here. The seniors for Connecticut combined for 32 points, and Cappy Pondexter, her one and only time winning in this building, had 18, and she's since graduated for Vivian Stringer. But what an unbelievable season and year Cappy Pondexter and career she had at Rutgers.
Rutgers on a current 8-0 run right now. I remember when Cappy hit those 2 free throws to ice the game towards the end. She just looked over at the UConn bench, and you could just tell she loved it.
Rutgers in a zone. What's that all about? 2-3 zone for Vivian Stringer off the timeout.
Well, maybe she's going to call timeout and talk things over again and maybe change that. But right now, Rutgers on fire. 8-0 run. They're only down. Welcome back. Rutgers has cut a 16-point deficit in half. A reminder, one of college basketball's biggest surprises of the year is on CSTV later tonight. It's Air Force, ranked 15th in the country, taking on San Diego State at 10 o'clock Eastern following our game tonight. NCAA basketball on CSTV. Don't you miss it. How did Rutgers get on this 8-0 run, Deb, and get back in the game?
I think it's the timely 3-point shooting, particularly Brittany Ray, who knocked down a couple in the corner that helped Rutgers get a little momentum going on the road. You know, Connecticut is the best field goal percentage team in the Big East. Rutgers is the best 3-point shooting team.
Delaney Green at the line now.
So we're expecting a lot of offense. It was kind of a slow start. I was a little surprised that both teams started off so slowly, but when you get in conference play and you have so much on the line, you know, Rutgers is trying to maintain a chance to win the Big East or tie. If they lose, the cushion gets wider for Connecticut, and they'll stay undefeated.
Connecticut has only lost to Tennessee and North Carolina.
2 teams that'll be #1 seeds.
2 teams they've lost to the last 2 years previous to this one. And if they were to lose to Rutgers, it'd be the first time in program history they lost to the same 3 teams 3 years in a row. Essence Carson from the left wing. Rebound UConn.
I don't think that's the shot Vivian Stringer wanted off the timeout.
Montgomery can't connect. And Ray is stripped from behind. It'll go Rutgers ball. Right now UConn looking like they could just have that killer instinct and get that big lead going into the break. But Rutgers comes up with a stop. Epiphany Prince. Carson wide open. Good.
That is the fourth three-pointer for Rutgers. And that's your answer right there, Greg. It's not how many you make all the time, it's when you make them.
Carson 6 points, 5 rebounds. It's a 7-point ball game.
Rutgers matching up in a zone. You got to know where Mel Thomas is. She's their best three-point shooter.
She can break the zone. 8 to shoot. Montgomery with her right hand. She's tough with the window.
That's smart. See, you couldn't help off the wing to dig in on the penetration because you had Thomas in the corner. Smart decision by Montgomery.
Montgomery with 6. It's 30-21. Minute and a half to play. Essence Carson, who's been on fire for Coach Stringer. Zurich down low. Kia Vaughn fighting.
Man, that is strong. I mean, she could have gone over her left shoulder with a little half hook. Instead, she drops baseline, so there's no help.
Vaughn has 6. This is a battle. I'm telling you what, it's like a heavyweight fight. Which round before the half will go to the Scarlet Knights? And I'm telling you what, Sharday Houston turns it over.
I just love a good low post move. Strong with contact. When Kia Vaughn, she works so hard for position, you got to throw it in there.
Timeout on the floor. When you talk about Kia Vaughn and how you love how she gets position in the post, what are you talking about?
I said she sits. I mean, she sits like she's sitting in a chair, and she gets her numbers and her hands to the basketball, and there's no doubt she wants it. I mean, if the guards don't throw it in there, if I were Kia Vaughn, I might come out there and say something to him.
Well, let me say something to you at home. Are you fan enough to handle a night of Lone Star State hoops? Tune in to CSTV tomorrow for a full night of matchups featuring tough Texas teams. The action starts at 8 o'clock with Houston at SMU, and then TCU taking on UNLV at 10 Eastern. More NCAA basketball tomorrow on CSTV. Well, they love Kia Vaughn in Piscataway. And why shouldn't they? Remember, Kia Vaughn was a UConn recruit for a while.
Yes, she was.
And then she decommitted and went to Rutgers. Could you imagine if she would have went to
commit to Connecticut?
I thought she did. Maybe she didn't.
I don't think she committed to Connecticut. I think the race
She was
between
leaning.
the two. Well, it was definitely a difficult decision. I mean, two wonderful programs, very well coached, very well prepared teams.
Prince. It's a turnover. Rutgers. Not what Vivian Stringer wanted. Kia Vaughn called for an illegal screen.
Team foul number 10.
Look at the ball pressure by Rutgers.
Mel Thomas. 7 seconds in the half. Green, baseline. It doesn't fall. Down to 1. The last heat from Ray. It doesn't fall. Here we go. It's 30-23. So the first half goes to UConn. They're up by 7. Coming up in the Fieldhouse here in New York, Justin Kutcher is going to have an exclusive interview with Maryland standout Crystal Langhorne. That's coming up on Game Tracker Live after the break. With the first half, UConn up 30-23. Here too, it's 30-23 at the half in stores. UConn ranked 5th in the country on top of Rutgers at the moment. Let's check out those first half highlights, Debbie Antonelli.
Well, we talked about Rutgers being able to get Kia Vaughn going, and they finally did. When they threw it in there, She was very effective scoring with her back to the basket. They're going to need more of Kia Vaughn in the second. 6 points in 17 minutes is not enough. Essence Carson certainly doing her thing. A terrific three-point shooter. Her only baskets are outside the arc. She needs to get to the rim in the second. But Connecticut, their defense was really good. It made Rutgers uncomfortable, and that allowed them to play the tempo they wanted to play on the offensive end. Sharday Houston, very good off the bounce, and then Tina Charles working the offensive glass. She has 2 of Connecticut's 5 offensive rebounds, and Greg, they had 5 offensive rebounds in the first 5 minutes of the game. Then they haven't had any since, so Rutgers has made that adjustment.
One thing I noticed from the first half, Mel Thomas, the sharpshooter for UConn, no points. Last time they played Rutgers, she was 1 of 10 from the floor. They haven't been able to get her going at all.
They got to get her some threes in transition, or otherwise she's not going to get any threes because of Rutgers' lockdown quarter-court defense. But that means they've got to up the tempo. That's exactly what Gino Auriemma wants. This game right now is playing to be in the low 60s, high 50s. That's not where Gino Auriemma wants the game.
He said to us earlier, as you take a look at the scoring leaders, Carson with 6, Houston with 8, good first half. If it's in the 50s, he said, we're going to lose. If it's in the 70s, we're going to win. He was confident about that.
We might see some full court pressure. We might see Gino Auriemma change it up defensively just to give his team a little more cadence on the offensive end. It definitely is about tempo. But Rutgers, it's the same for them. They want to control the tempo by controlling the glass and playing a quarter-court game.
A crowd of over 9,700 here in Gamble. Great atmosphere. Green does not connect. Carson comes down with the rebound. Rutgers looking to slice into that 7-point lead of UConn. Epiphany Prince quiet in that first half. No points. Vaughn can't get it to fall, and Charles pulls it down.
Wow. Rutgers' first possession inside to Vaughn. That tells you how important establishing her on the baseline is in this game right now.
Vaughn just 6 points in that first half. Charles goes right at her, and they're going to call her with the travel.
I mean, we get to watch this matchup for the next 3 years. Tina Charles and Kia Vaughn. How fun is that?
2 great centers.
6'4", both dominating interior players on both ends of the floor.
Prince and Montgomery. Look at Montgomery. Pick her pocket. Renee Montgomery. Dishing to Green, and it's good.
Basket by Kalena Green.
This is too easy right here. Watch this. Just reaches right in. Zip, takes it away, and gone the other way. Montgomery doing a nice job of dishing right here. No call there because Ajavon was looking to draw the contact and was late getting there. It's a good no call, but I think she got stepped on.
Yeah, that's what it looked like in the replay. Kalena Green coming down after making the layup. Landed, looked like on her face. She's slow to get up, and here she is now coming off the floor. Crowd giving her a hand. Yeah, and you see the foot come right down.
She missed the first 5 games of the season, didn't start playing until the Duke game, and actually she probably wishes she wasn't playing in that one either since Rutgers got beat by 40.
She was a player her freshman year. I don't think there was a freshman as electric as she was. 12 points, just so fun to watch. And that was with Cappy Pondexter and Chelsea Newton on that team.
Well, she still has all that skill. I mean, she is a dynamic offensive player, very good on the defensive end, led the league in steals last year, but didn't get Defensive Player of the Year. That went to Essence Carson. Very interesting.
Says something about Vivian Stringer's team defensively. Epiphany Prince has not scored yet. Zurich hasn't either. They're going to call a foul on the floor. If
Zurich doesn't throw that ball in there, that foul doesn't get called because Vaughn is working for position each time down. It can get frustrating if you're a post player and you work and keep contact and no one throws it in there. Well, right now, Rutgers is looking for her.
Tina Charles called for her second personal foul. Vaughn's going to try to go right back at her, but UConn swarms.
On the dribble, they bring the help.
A blocking foul will be called.
Rutgers foul number 5.
Essence Carson called.
Second personal
Her
foul.
second.
First team foul on the Scarlet Knights.
It looks like Rutgers is really force-feeding Kia Vaughn offensively.
They need to.
Mel Thomas can't connect. Prince, the leading scorer for Rutgers, is a true freshman, hasn't scored in this game yet. She has the ball guarded heavily by Renee Montgomery.
And this was the one freshman that I thought Vivian Stringer felt very comfortable with playing in this environment. That of all the freshmen that she has, this is the one that wouldn't be bothered by the environment.
She's 0 for 5 from the floor. Fast break opportunity, and Kalena Green, the recipient of a great pass from Montgomery, who's second in the Big East in assists.
When we talk tempo and out of the locker room, that's exactly what Connecticut's trying to do, is score in transition. Neither team had very many transition opportunities in the first.
Kalena Green, 11 points, 7 rebounds. The defense of UConn forcing a jump ball.
Held ball, Rutgers possession. Returning for Rutgers number 22.
Renee Montgomery in the open court is just dangerous.
Look at this, head up, terrific bounce pass. Ahead of the basketball is Kalena Green, and she gets rewarded for her run, her ability to run rim to rim.
Whatever struggles Kalena Green had in Milwaukee have disappeared. That 6.3 rebound performance done. 11-7 tonight. Rutgers trying to get something going offensively, and they have yet to score here in the second half. Gino telling them to back up. 12 to shoot. Mel Thomas. She also hasn't scored. Tried to feed it. Tina Charles, kicked out of bounds by Rutgers. Mel Thomas, one of the best three-point shooters in the country, and free throw shooter for that matter.
Rutgers substitution number 10.
Just needs an extra beat to get her shot off. Needs help in the quarter court with screens, but understands how to use screens.
Kalena Green finding room underneath amidst the trees. She has 13. 6-0 UConn run. All Kalena Green here in the second half. Look at her get after it defensively. Another jump ball. UConn possession, and Kalena Green is having herself a first 4 minutes of a second half.
Boy, Gino Oriemo giving a lot of energy to his team right now over there on the sideline. He really loves the effort. Kalena Green, watch this right here, gets out in the passing lane, deflection. That's twice Carson has been tied up in the middle of the floor.
She bounced her chin off the court, and we said this is a physical game when these two get together, and that's really lived up to the billing here tonight. For three, Montgomery doesn't fall. Vaughn with the defensive rebound. Rutgers down 13. Ashvon back in the game.
They got to start having some quality possessions right here.
And Montgomery is just all over the place. Double dribble on Epiphany Prince. And Prince, for the first time this season, looking like a true freshman thanks to Gino Oriemo's defense. Rutgers down 13. Welcome back to Storrs, Connecticut. The Huskies on top by 13 points. The number 13, the amount of points for the sophomore Kalena Green. She has dominated in the second half.
The South Carolina High School Player of the Year. 3 for 4 in the second half. All in transition or off out of bounds plays. Running the floor ahead of the basketball. And then right here, great screen by Mel Thomas. Good entry to get her some freedom on the inside. A little isolation. Kalena Green, 6 second half points.
A dominant high school player at Timberland High School, led them to the first state championship in 05, averaged 28 points, 18 rebounds, and there's Sharday Houston, another top-notch blue-chip high school player in her day.
Usually you talk about Rutgers' defense and the way they get in your grill. Well, we haven't seen that tonight. It's been Connecticut that has done a good job on the defensive end.
Rutgers hasn't scored in over 5 minutes going back to the first half. It's 38-23. Oh, Mel Thomas had a look. Cleaner one now. Doesn't fall. Tina Charles. The athletic ability that 6'4" freshman has is scary.
Connecticut is getting anything they want right now on the offensive end. A 12-0 scoring run.
Rutgers has to do something to silence this crowd and stop the bleeding a bit. Essence Carson. That's not going to do it.
You know, Connecticut is overplaying, and when you've got a team that's that aggressive and overplaying, you got to go to the basket. You got to look to backdoor them, take some pressure off.
Sharday Houston. She hits the deck. The ball doesn't fall. Rutgers has it. In need of a bucket.
They need to go inside to Kia Vaughn right here.
17-point lead for UConn. And Renee Montgomery is just timing out the dribbling of all these Rutgers guards. 4 steals in this game. Renee Montgomery by herself. Ajavon. And she is creating a foul. Exactly what you said. Go to the rim, make something happen.
Well, they're good off the dribble in this lineup right here from 3 positions. So they need to look to spread it out and take Connecticut to the bucket with their pressure.
We talked to Vivian Stringer before this game, and she said her team was playing as good as it could be playing right now coming into this rivalry game against UConn. She felt good about her club coming in here.
She said perfect timing to play them. You know, 9 of the last 10 they've won. They dominated their last game against Cincinnati. They had all 5 starters in double figures against Lori Pirtle's club.
Big reason why Rutgers has won 4 in a row is Essence Carson. She hit the last bucket. Here's Green fading away. And Rutgers back the other way. Ajavon will slow things up. She did not have numbers. 13:45 to play in this one. UConn sitting pretty up 15. Nice look underneath and good defense from UConn.
Wow.
Backdoor feed from Montgomery to Soignier goes out of bounds. Gino's got to be happy with it.
Well, he's got, I mean, they had a terrific shoot around. They were very detailed in their preparation. He really broke down the different phases of the game-like situations, and taught. He was teaching the whole time.
It was fun to watch and listen to.
You forget that there's not a senior on either one of these teams, as good as they are.
And you forget that UConn's playing without Brittany Hunter, averaging 7.5 points, 5 rebounds per game. Sharday Houston creating the turnover. Montgomery the other way. Tina Charles on the offensive glass. UConn still working. Charles is fouled. What a great sequence for the Huskies.
That is all defense and effort by Connecticut. It starts with the steal by Houston. Great hands. They have just picked Rutgers right out of their pocket all game. Montgomery trying to score in transition, and then Tina Charles just staying after it right here. Kalena Green, they're all over the offensive boards with their athleticism.
Kalena Green, 5'10", getting the rebound in front of the 6'4" Kia Vaughn. Charles hits the free throw. You're looking at the face of UConn basketball for a long time to come. Tina Charles, 10 points, 6 boards, 4 blocks.
I think Kalena Green is one of the top rebounding guards in the whole country. I'd put her on a list with Armini Price at Ole Miss. How about Alexis Hornbuckle at Tennessee? I saw a good rebounding guard last night, Alicia Gladden at Florida State.
Jessica Dixon's a good one too at South Florida. Here in the Big East Conference. Dee Jernigan dumps it down low. Vaughn working against Charles. She goes up and she gets fouled.
Rutgers needs more of this. Throw it inside to Vaughn, clear it out, and let her go one-on-one. She's so strong, works so hard, and that time she catches it at the high post. And power dribbles her way to the block to improve her percentage.
More importantly, the third personal foul on Tina Charles. Kylie McLaren will come in, another true freshman, McDonald's All-American. Big round of applause. The folks here in Gamble happy with the performance from their true freshman, Charles. She'll take a seat with 3 fouls.
Now with McLaren on the floor, if you're Rutgers, you have to get it to Vaughn. You got to go inside and challenge.
McLaren's very good, just not as athletic as Charles defensively.
Let's see if Connecticut might change up their defense without Charles on the floor and go to zone next time down.
Reaching the 12-minute mark here in the second half. McLaren can shoot the 3. Keep that in mind. That is why Vaughn is guarding her so high up. Turnover. And Epiphany gets her first bucket of the ball game. Prince, 2 points.
And they get it off defense. She gets an easy one in transition. That might get her started.
The first 2 points off turnovers for Rutgers. That is a stat. 17 points off turnovers in this game for UConn. It's only a 12-point deficit. Nice look down low, McLaren, and they're going to call 3 seconds.
So McLaren comes in and turns it over twice.
It's not over yet. Gino Auriemma knows it. Right now, UConn up by 12, 41-29 here in the second half. It's not as high scoring as Gino Auriemma would like, but the Huskies still have a 12-point lead over the 22nd ranked Scarlet Knights. And I think Gino reminded his players, let's get after it a little more. Let's end this 2-game losing streak.
Well, it's been terrific team defense. They've been in denial. They have disrupted. They have made it difficult. They have been in the passing lanes. 17 turnovers on 9 steals. They've been able to block 5 shots. They've held Rutgers to 35% from the floor. It is a great team effort on the defensive end of the floor for Gino Auriemma's club.
UConn Huskies, look at that defense. 11th in the nation. Only give up about 53 points a game. So far, Rutgers has managed 29. Essence Carson, it's short. Garland gets the rebound. She's in the game for Gino and UConn. Blocking foul called on Essence Carson.
It's all tempo and push and look forward down the court. Connecticut has got control of the tempo of the game, and they're doing it with their defense. It's allowing them to get out on the wings, fill, and go.
Third personal on Essence Carson. Foul trouble could play a factor in this one as Rutgers tries to make a comeback. Down 12. Soigné, ball fake, jumper, no good. Big rebound from Kia Vaughn.
Kia Vaughn rebounds and squeezes that basketball sometimes. I think the ball's going to need oxygen.
She has 4 of those hard rebounds in this game, 8 points. Epiphany Prince taking it to the rack, off the window and good. She has 4.
That's what she can do. And here comes the full court pressure. And it's the right time to do it. You cannot wait if you're Vivian Stringer.
And Carson almost creates a turnover.
You have got to generate some emotion, some energy for your club.
And Rutgers is only down 10. As lethargic as they have been, the rebounding is actually even now at 28. Soigné looked a bit out of control, but they're still going to call a foul on Rutgers.
I mean, this is exactly what Gino Auriemma spent his time on at shoot-around today, was breaking the Rutgers pressure. And the first time they get an opportunity to transition the other way for a potential layup.
Kia Vaughn with her 3rd personal foul.
You got to watch for Sharday Houston on this out-of-bounds play.
It's 41-31, under 11 to play.
There she is.
And good team defense from Rutgers. Jernigan the other way and goes to Prince, and it's tied up. It'll be Rutgers ball. Epiphany hasn't looked comfortable in this game.
She's starting to look a little better, though. She's hit her last 2 shots.
She is a dynamic player, as many know. In her high school career, scored a national record 113 points in a single game. That Epiphany Prince, yes, that's her right there. She did it.
Well, you take the 5 freshmen for Rutgers, you add their combined high school scoring numbers, it's 132.7 points. And in Vivian Stringer's time at Rutgers, they've never scored 100 points as a team.
That's amazing. And, you know, Prince, as we see her here, and we've talked a lot about Tina Charles, the other fantastic freshman for UConn. We said it earlier, they are best friends, and I am not joking. They talk to each other, not text messaging here as Prince goes up, follows her own shot, but Green comes down with the board. They talk to each other on the phone every day. Tina Charles and Epiphany Prince. That's going to be almost an awkward relationship as these two go on with their college careers, battling each other here in the Big East.
I think you have more friends than foes because of AAU basketball. These players at the top level, they all know each other. They're all together all summer competing.
All of a sudden, UConn can't knock down a shot. It's 41-31. 9:32 to play. D.D. Jernigan with the ball, freshman. Timeout. Vivian Stringer wants to talk things over. Rutgers is not out of it yet. Down by 10 here in Stores. Want to know about tomorrow's stars now? Prep basketball expert Seth Davis scours the country's high school hardcores, introducing you to all the players who will lead the next generation of hoop superstars. It's all on Seth Davis's Generation Next, Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern, only on CSTV. Big day tomorrow on CSTV as well. It's National Signing Day for college football. 3 live hours from 2 Eastern to 5 on CSTV. Talking high school football recruiting. I'll be there with you. Enjoy that. Speaking of recruiting.
Yeah, how about this one right here? How about Maya Moore, Greg? I mean, the best player coming out of high school from Lawrenceville, Georgia. First team All-American, first team everything, and next year she'll be here at Connecticut. Be very exciting to watch her play.
Gino almost seemed giddy when he was talking about her, right?
He's excited, yes he is.
He's very excited.
He has a lot to look forward to.
An 8-0 for Rutgers, 8-1 run. It's now a 10-point game. Around 9 to play. Vaughn down low. Jumper in the paint, no good. Sharday Houston with a big defensive rebound. Montgomery so dangerous with that right hand. There's Charles, her 7th rebound of the game and her 12th point.
Oh, she tipped it to herself. That's smart. She can run the floor, Tina Charles.
3 scores in double figures for UConn.
And none for Rutgers.
And there's under 9 to play. So much talk as there's a foul called on Kalena Green. So much talk about Gino's offensive ability with the players he has. You see some of the greats. Diana Taurasi, Swin Cash. Great offensive players, but he's always made sure his team sat down and played great defense, and they're doing that here tonight.
That's the Huskies of honor up there. That's something new they added this year, and very deserving, all of those players. Terrific players.
Essence Carson. Ajavon had 5 quick points in the first half, and she gets 2 big ones there. The lead back to 10 for UConn.
I think Rutgers would like to press, but they haven't been able to score to be able to get in their full court pressure.
Sharday Houston against Jernigan. And one.
Sharday Houston's decision-making all game has been fantastic on the offensive end. They worked on this 1-4 high series this afternoon in their shoot-around. She makes the right read right here. Nice, strong move. Watch this right here. Rim, body, ball. She protects the ball with her body and gets to the free throw line.
5 of 12 from the floor here in this game. She misses the free throw. She's now 2 of 3 from the charity stripe. 12 points, 7 rebounds. One of those nights for Sharday Houston. A good one. 12-point lead as Prince goes the distance.
The same series on the other end for Rutgers, except for this time they deliver the handoff.
Prince has 6. Green,
Wow.
oh, what a reverse.
Oh, are you kidding me? Look at that move.
She is fun to watch. An athletic sophomore And here's the scary part. She's only going to get better, folks.
I talked to her before the game. I said, how come you've improved so much? She said, oh, I don't know. I just work hard. You know, she's so soft-spoken and unassuming.
She doesn't know how good she is. 3, no good for the Scarlet Knights. But look at Matiashvili with the steal. This crowd wants to start making some noise. Kia Vaughn wants to silence them. She won't do it with that.
And no one going to the glass.
Montgomery, pull up. Uh-oh.
Her decision-making in transition has been outstanding as well. Knows when to pull up and shoot the medium-range jumper. Look at Gino Auriemma.
He knows he has Rutgers on the ropes.
He is coaching them up over there.
14-point lead. Montgomery with 6 points in this game, but what she's done defensively doesn't show up. Nice move from Matiashvili. She has 9. And that pressure creates for Rutgers. Essence Carson. She can't connect, and look at Montgomery. And she's fouled.
Boy, Gino Auriemma looking for some toughness out of his team. Well, he's seen it tonight. They have delivered on the defensive end.
We said it's a heavyweight bout, and so far, the winner is UConn at the moment, thanks to Kalena Green's double-double. She has 15, 10, and that reverse. Welcome back to Gamble Pavilion here in Storrs, Connecticut. A cold night, but inside, the Huskies are lighting it up thanks to this guy's talents in leading this program. We know he was born in Italy, and some of you may not. He's a history buff. Don't try to get anything past it, especially in the sport of basketball. And what an athlete. Pumped and psyched. I hear he's a good golfer too, right?
He's a really good golfer. As a matter of fact, one story I know about Gino is playing golf with Dean Smith, the Dean Smith. He played golf with him. He had an eagle. On number 10 at Cypress, and he loves to tell that story.
An all-around athlete, Gino Auriemma.
Naismith, Hall of Fame, Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, over 600 wins. Fastest to 600 in the women's game. Wins 84% of the games that his teams play in.
Not mentioned on that list of accolades, he has good hair. 3, no good. Sharday Houston on the offensive glass. Sharday Houston, 14 points and 9 rebounds. Gino said he had to rely heavily on her. With Brittany Hunter out,
hey,
she did not dress.
What a different Connecticut team when Sharday Houston is playing. I mean, really playing.
14-point lead, under 6 to play. Kia Vaughn with the left hand, that's nice.
Wow. Go to the zone, and Rutgers dumps it right in. They score, and here comes the full court pressure.
Sharday Houston.
You want to make
dump the ball off.
Somebody besides Montgomery handle, and that's exactly what they try to do. Deny Montgomery the basketball. And this is where Soigné comes in, because she's a terrific secondary ball handler for them.
Here's an issue for Vivian Stringer. Essence Carson called for the foul. And that is her 4th. Epiphany Prince will come in, but not for Carson. Ray will come out.
Well, it's a difficult decision for Vivian Stringer, but you got to rely on the veteran play and the 3-year starter in Essence Carson to stay out of foul trouble right here. You got to try to dig back in this, and you can't do it with her on the bench.
Yeah, she, again, her last 3 games averaging over 20 points for the Scarlet Knights. As Renee Montgomery hits the front end of a 1-and-1. 5:19 to play here in the ball game.
Well, she's subbing for Carson, but I don't think she can stay over there very long. You're down 13, and you haven't been able to get anything going your way offensively.
Heather Zurich in for her. She can't box out Tina Charles. But it over the back is called.
UConn foul, 24, Sharday Houston.
Check it out. We got a packed house. You have Jeff Adrian on the right. A couple of UConn basketball. On the further right, see with the New York Yankees cap, Hashim Thabit. What's he, 7'3"? He shook my hand earlier today, and I couldn't see my hand anymore.
I didn't even see those guys. I saw Kara Walters in the middle of that mix doing the radio for Connecticut.
The Stars are out tonight.
She's on that Huskies of honor.
What a dominant low post player she was. Speaking of low post presence, Kia Vaughn with another bucket. 52-41. UConn men had a great night here yesterday. Gino Auriemma, we talk about him. How about Jim Calhoun winning his 500th career game at UConn? Two great head coaches, and there's Kara Walters.
Well, you mentioned dominant low post players. There's number 52 up there on the wall. Good luck to her and her husband. In about 3 weeks, they're going to have their first child. And it is a girl.
You know that.
Yes, I do.
Now that is inside information. Houston, tough to stop tonight. She gets it back, goes up. Look at Tina Charles as she hits the deck. Relentless on the offensive glass.
What great effort. What work ethic. She's brought block to block all game. She was the one that was on the offensive boards early. You talk about toughness right here. The front line for Connecticut has been tough all game.
31, Tina Charles shooting 2.
Rashida Junaid is going to check in for Rutgers, a 6'4" freshman. But Tina Charles having a big night. 12 points, 8 boards, 4 block shots.
And this is a Connecticut team with 2 losses and 2 losses only, Greg. Tennessee and North Carolina on the road.
So tell me, you said this at halftime. UConn wins this game against Rutgers. If the tournament started, the NCAA tournament started tomorrow, would they get a 1 seed?
Yes, they would. I think they would. I think Duke, North Carolina, Tennessee. Duke and North Carolina are going to beat each other up. Tennessee's not going to lose in the SEC. And I don't care what Ohio State does. I
tell you what.
It's not against Ohio State or the Big Ten. It's just the way the numbers fall out this year and their experience last year being a 1 seed. I really believe if Connecticut wins here today and they can win the rest of their games, even if they lose at Rutgers, it's not a bad loss. And Maryland has a bad loss in losing to Georgia Tech.
Check out the latest top 25 AP poll. UConn sitting 5th.
And Duke and North Carolina play Thursday night. Both teams are undefeated and the only undefeated teams left in the regular season. But Duke, North Carolina, Tennessee is undefeated in the SEC. Ohio State undefeated in the SEC. Connecticut undefeated in the Big East. Maryland has a couple of losses. 3 actually in the ACC.
How about George Washington as T. Ashevon fouls out? That's huge. 9 points. 5 quick ones in the first half. Throw that along with Essence Carson, who has 4 fouls right now. And a comeback is looking very grim right now for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. 4 minutes to play. They've
got to turn Connecticut over and get some possessions, and they can't let them transition the other way like that. There's a break for Rutgers.
UConn trying to hold on. Gino Auriemma doing everything he can to end this 2-game losing streak to the Scarlet. CSTV finds out if 2 Hoops nuts are fan enough to handle the road trip of a lifetime on Hoops Odyssey, presented by New Balance 810 Trail Shoe. Follow our duo at hoopsodyssey.com as they travel 8,000 miles, catching more than 50 matchups, including the men's national championship game in Atlanta. It's NCAA basketball coverage all season long. Possession CSTV. Connecticut playing at home. Tough to beat. 127-2. in their last 129 home games versus Big East competitors, and they've only lost once here ever. So Rutgers.
Very impressive. That's why they win 84% of their games. You can't win up here. Rutgers came in here and won last year, and nobody does that.
You said before that you didn't like calling this a rivalry until last year happened when Rutgers finally started winning.
The last couple of years, because Connecticut had won 12 in a row. until the last 2 years when Rutgers has won 3 of the last 4. When Rutgers, with their 6 losses, should they lose this game, that would give them 7 losses, and 5 are against ranked teams.
The tempo of this game has to change for them to make the comeback. Down by 12, 3.5 to play. 7 to shoot. Epiphany Prince, the freshman, to Jernigan. DD's going to have to throw it up. She does not draw iron, and that's a shot clock violation.
That is not a good choice. Carson was open in the corner. And you look at Rutgers' strength of schedule. 3rd behind Tennessee and Duke. Tennessee always plays the toughest schedule. Their RPI is always #1. Blue Devils in North Carolina will tangle on Thursday. That is a very highly anticipated game.
We're both looking forward to that one.
Yeah, that will be in Chapel Hill, and then the rematch will be in Cameron the end of February.
And you notice UConn's strength of schedule in the 30s. Keep in mind, that's going to go up when they play LSU this weekend, which should be a very good test for this UConn team.
Well, it will be, because Sylvia Fowles on the inside is a double-double, a dominant low post, another challenge for Tina Charles to deal with.
12-point lead UConn. Ray has it. Prince for 3. It's good. They need more of that to get back in this one.
They finally get it to single digits. First time all half.
Full court pressure. And they're going to call timeout. Renee Montgomery calls a 30, and Gina's going to talk things over. Like I said, it doesn't get any easier for Gina Auriemma. Check this out. This weekend at 7th-ranked LSU. And then Louisville, a team with just 2 losses on the season. Angel McCutchery has been unbelievable for the Cardinals this season. They're going to play them as well. And then Pitt. Pitt has been ranked for the majority of the season, not right now.
Well, outside of Villanova, the rest of the Big East teams are all in the top half of the league, and that's what they have left. That's not very easy for Gina Auriemma's club, but that's why I think they win here. I think they've got a chance to sweep. And if they do, they're going to be looking pretty for the NCAA tournament. Going to be a very interesting selection process this year. There's several teams that are going to be talked about, and it might not even matter if you're a 1 or a 2. It's going to be about the matchups.
Well, we saw UConn play North Carolina, so we get a sense of how good this team is against that ACC power conference with that 3-headed monster at the top. How do they compare as you see Kalena Green on the inbounds? She's fouled by Prince.
Well, the one thing you couldn't do if you're Rutgers is get beat over the top. Excellent execution. Gina Auriemma knew the pressure was coming and it was going to be tight up front. And he has his best athlete release. Look at the baseball pass by Sharday Houston.
The second personal on Epiphany Prince.
Instead of shooting 2 here, it's going to be, or it is going to be 2 shots.
Kalena Green misses the first. What a night. 15 points, 10 rebounds, 6 of 12 from the floor.
One of 5 Connecticut starters that averages double figures, and I think it's so interesting that Connecticut doesn't have anybody in the top 15 in scoring in the Big East right now. That's the balance of their team. It's one of their strengths.
One of their weaknesses, free throw shooting. They're the 3rd worst of 16 teams in the Big East in shooting free throws. Green misses 2 there. It's still just a 9-point lead with 2:24 to play. Carson playing with 4 fouls. Prince for 3, no good, doesn't draw iron. And UConn will get it. Some other scores in the Big East, Villanova and Pitt. Agnes Baronato gets a win, 66-53. Seton Hall over Georgetown, a bit of a surprise despite the fact they're at home. And West Virginia, another win for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, see, that's good for them because that gets them to 16 wins, and that puts them, gives them 7 conference wins. A lot of people believe you get to 8 conference wins, you got a really good chance of getting in. Now there is a huge win for DePaul. That gives them another quality win on their schedule.
Beating USF isn't easy. Jessica Dixon averaging over 20 points per game.
And DePaul beat Rutgers earlier this year, so those are the kind of wins.
Undermanned.
Well, you know, they are, and that's the kind of wins that matter right now, Greg. Everybody's inside that window of the last 10 games, which is a piece of criteria for the NCAA selection committee.
Doug Bruno, big win tonight. Gino looking for an even bigger one at home against Rutgers. Vaughn up, good. The Scarlet Knights aren't done with less than 2 minutes to play. The pressure intense.
Hey, there is plenty of time right here. Rutgers needs to score quickly. They don't necessarily need a 3. Got it back to 9. It's a 3-possession game.
And they create a turnover off that inbounds, and they get it back. Carson will inbound underneath the Husky basket. And look at Renee Montgomery. Yet another steal for the super sophomore point guard. She brings the UConn faithful to their feet. 6 steals for Montgomery. Houston working hard down low.
What a big game by Sharday Houston. 16 points. 10 rebounds.
Rutgers needs to make something happen in a hurry. Vaughn, pump fake. She's tied up. Oh, they're going to call foul. On a night where Sharday Houston picks up her 5th double-double of her career, 2nd on the season, she's called on her 3rd personal foul.
This is a player that almost quit in the offseason.
Isn't it?
And they talked her into it. One of the best lines I heard Gino Auriemma say all year. Well, I guess she's back on the team because she was in the team photo. She showed up for the team picture.
That's a good, I guess it gives you a good sense of whether or not she wants to play.
Right. Well, she's played tonight. She has worked hard on both ends. And
up and down career loaded with up and down nights within up and down seasons for Sharday Houston. Lane violation. It's called on UConn. So another free throw coming up for Kia Vaughn. That's the kind of stuff that drives Gino Auriemma crazy.
That's exactly what he's saying. Focus and finish, 40 minutes.
And Kia Vaughn takes advantage of that second opportunity. The lead back to 9 for UConn. 1:15 to play here. Montgomery.
See, that's a leader right there. She holds on to it, doesn't pass it to anybody else.
UConn looking to drain the shot clock. 16 to shoot. Under a minute to play in Stores. Montgomery. No, but there's Tina Charles. UConn, 3 players with double-doubles tonight. The last time 3 UConn players had a double-double was January 9th, 1994. Rebecca Lobo, Carol Walters, and Janelle Elliott. Can you believe that? That was against Georgetown.
Impressive. That is very impressive that Houston, Charles, and Green all have 10 boards apiece.
And there's Janelle.
Janelle Elliott. Great player here at Connecticut. National champion.
50 seconds to play. Prince will be at the free throw line. Epiphany got out to a slow start, didn't score in the first half. She has 9 on 4 of 11 shooting, all in the second half. She hits the front end.
Gino Auriemma is a little upset with the way his team has finished off the last couple of minutes. But you know what? They have found a way to win. It isn't always a dominant performance like these fans and Connecticut Nation is used to, but it's winning. It's still W's, and they're 21-2 if they win this, finish this off.
And 11-0 in Big East play. 45 seconds, and Montgomery is fouled.
Well, Rutgers could never get it going tonight. They didn't get in sync offensively. Vivian Stringer's team had won 9 of their last 10 coming in here. And their defense had been good. They've held 5 of their last 9 teams to below 50 points.
And the defense was strong tonight. Just
was
offensively,
okay.
they couldn't get anything going.
It was Connecticut's defense that was really the story. I think they really took Rutgers completely out.
Defensive rebounding lacked, no question about it, for 3 players to put up double-doubles, which has happened tonight here for UConn.
That is very impressive.
That's incredible. And a technical foul.
Inadvertent whistle.
And now they're going to call it an inadvertent whistle. Gino's confused, along with just about everybody else here in Gamble.
Well, Dee Kantner, one of the top officials in the women's game, waved it off.
Epiphany said, "What, on me?" Talked to her a little bit, and it was all waved off. Misunderstanding with 30 seconds to play. Essence Carson can't hit. And it'll stay Rutgers ball. A 10-point lead for UConn. Kalena Green, the star in this night, along with Tina Charles, along with Sharday Houston. So many stars, and that's what makes this team so good. A block, another for Tina Charles. And this game, in my opinion, Deb, you tell me, it personifies this team. They don't have the Diana Taurasi, no. They don't have the Rebecca Lobo, but they have 5 very good players.
I think that's one of the strengths of their team, is the balance offensively. And they find a way to win. It's 3 games in a row where they've won by 10 or less, but they're figuring it out as they go.
Standing ovation for Gino Auriemma's Connecticut Huskies. They improved to 21-2 on the season, and they remain perfect in Big East play. Huskies win by 10 over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Don't you go anywhere. We're back to wrap things up from Gamble after this. UConn believes now they win 60-50 over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights and end Rutgers' 2 winning streak over the Huskies. Greg Amsinger and Debbie Antonelli, we really enjoyed this one with you here from Stores. How did the Huskies get it done?
Well, they did it with great balance. 3 players with a double-double. They boarded it so they could play the tempo that they wanted to play. I thought it was a terrific, balanced team effort, and their team defense was outstanding.
It was hard to pick one player to give this award to, but it's time now for our Sirius Satellite Player of the Game. Sharday Houston, go ahead. 16 points and 11 rebounds. She played one heck of a game.
Well, I thought she and Tina Charles set the tone early with their offensive rebounding. Their defense was outstanding, and Sharday was determined to be a factor on the offensive end tonight.
So congrats to Sharday Houston, our Sirius Satellite Player of the Game, as UConn improves to 21-2 on the year. For Debbie Antonelli and our entire CSTV crew, I'm Greg Amsinger. For more, log on to CSTV.com. This has been a presentation of CSTV College Sports Television, the experts in college sports. So long from Gamble Pavilion in Stores.